Hedron is designed specifically to add more utility to HEX investors. But are those good intentions not gonna ruin the core concept of the HEX project instead and lose its value? Well, we'll find out this and a lot more in this video, so stay until the end. I'll do my best to make this video as informative as possible. But before we get into all this, I want to make sure everyone understands Hedron completely, because I still see people in the forums and in the comment section on YouTube videos who are very confused and asking so many questions, and even videos that try to explain the project are being corrected by their viewers. And that makes me think that people are not fully aware how exactly Hedron works. That's why I'll try to explain that project in detail first, so there's nothing that remains unclear and confuses you. And then we can see whether Hedron can destroy HEX instead of benefiting him, which was the initial idea of the founders. And since I mentioned the founders, first I want to point out that Hedron has nothing to do with Richard Hart and his projects. They clearly specify on their website that Hedron is a completely separate project from HEX and has no relation to HEX's founder and development team. They define themselves as people who are passionate about HEX and want to bring more value to other Hexicans. So what is Hedron in this case and what is its purpose? Hedron is a cryptocurrency built on top of HEX and was designed to solve one major issue of HEX and provide additional value to the stakers. Basically, Hedron is a collection of smart contracts that live on the Ethereum and Pulsechain blockchains. But if the technical stuff is not something that you vibe with and you have a hard time understanding it, the simplest way I can explain this project is, normally when you stake your HEX, you receive HEX tokens as a reward. But this project will give you additional tokens for your HEX stake, which are called Hedron tokens. So you basically receive HEX and Hedron tokens for your HEX stake thanks to this project. There was a launch bonus that applied only during the first 100 days after the launch date. The bonus itself starts as a 10x multiplier and drops by 1x every 10 days until settling at 0x for the remaining life of the contract. This bonus is applied on top of your normal minted Hedron payout, so it's more like an 11x bonus, and they provide a great example of that. If you're expecting to mint 555,500 Hedron tokens at the end of your term and you claim your bonus on day 1 to 10 to lock in the 10x multiplier, that means you will get your expected 555,500 tokens plus 555,500 times 10 on top of that, which will grant you with 6,110,500 Hedron tokens in total. During the launch phase bonus, you have two options: claiming and minting. Claiming is only available during the launch bonus phase, and minting is always available within Hedron. Claiming will allow you to claim your launch bonus, but not actually mint you any Hedron tokens. This gives you the option of being able to defer minting for a later date. Minting will also claim the launch bonus, but it will also claim you Hedron tokens immediately. So if I have to paraphrase this, claim your bonus as soon as possible to lock in the highest multiplier and mint your actual Hedron tokens at the end of your term, even if it's 5 years from now. The bonus multiplier that you lock in now will be added when you mint your tokens. You can mint only your served days and you can do it any day you want. The only thing is you have to pay gas fees for the mint, and that's why I recommend minting them all at once when you complete your whole term. It was also confirmed that your claimed launch bonus will be transferred to the Pulsechain network when it launches. Hedron also has some other benefits for your HEX stake apart from the free tokens you will get. To be able to take advantage of those benefits, you have to stake your HEX through the Hedron platform, and your stake will turn into HEX Stake Instance, or HSI. If you stake your HEX through the HEX website, which is the normal way of staking HEX, they call this stake a native stake. With a native stake, you can only mint Hedron tokens and take advantage of the launch phase bonus and the AMR bonus, which stands for Advanced to Mint Ratio. The AMR bonus exists solely to ensure there is always enough free market Hedron to cover all borrowing premiums. This bonus triggers only if the global amount of borrowed Hedron is to exceed more than 50% of the total supply of Hedron in existence. For every percentage point the borrowed supply exceeds beyond 50% of the total supply, this bonus will increase by 0.2x, and the maximum could go is to 10x for 100%. When this bonus is triggered, it will exist for only a single day, scaling down on the following day until the ratio is fixed and the total borrowed supply is 50% or less of the total supply. Interestingly enough, this AMR bonus will be applied on top of your claim launch phase bonus. So the best strategy here is, as I said earlier, to claim your launch phase bonus as soon as possible and watch when there is an AMR bonus available so you can mint your served days with an additional multiplier. In this example, you can clearly see how powerful these bonuses could be, and combined together can give you amazing results. Let's assume you're able to mint 100 Hedron tokens with a 3x launch and 1x AMR bonus multiplier. You will get the 100 Hedron tokens plus the 3x launch bonus that goes on top, which is 300 in this case, and that 1x AMR bonus also go on top of all previous, so it will be 400 tokens, and that will be 800 Hedron tokens in total. You can clearly see, if you use these bonuses correctly, what big of a difference it makes. But I mentioned the borrowing feature of HEX Stake Instance, so let's have a look at what that is. They give you the option to mint all Hedron tokens that you're qualified for all at once, without having to wait for the term to complete, but you have to pay an interest every 90 days because of that, and the interest will be around 2% or less. Also, when you use the borrowing feature, feature, the HEX stake cannot be ended, tokenized, or be minted against. The interest that you have to pay can be paid as often as you prefer, and can be made in advance as far into the future as you prefer. If you don't make a payment within 90 days, your HEX stake used as a collateral for the advance will be available to other Hedron users for liquidation. Your advance will be considered in default, and the contract will allow other Hedron users to liquidate your Hedron position and claim the HEX stake used as collateral for themselves. It's important to mention that if you use the borrowing feature, there will be no bonus applied. You will only get what you're supposed to, based upon how many B shares the stake has been allocated, multiplied by the total days staked. So be careful with the borrowing feature. Make sure you are fully aware of the downside risk before you make any decisions. I suggest you to go on their website and consume every single bit of information about this function before you take any action. However, there's one more cool feature that this project has, and that is Tokenized Hsi. Basically, if you want to take advantage of these HSI features and get the most of your HEX stake, you just need to go to the Hedron app, have a HEX in your wallet that you haven't staked yet, and stake it through this platform. This will allow you to choose to borrow all the Hedron tokens that you would have otherwise had to wait for, and you can also tokenize your HSI, which will turn into NFT. And if you decide you no longer wish to trade that NFT, you can always detokenize it yourself and regain control of the stake. This feature can solve one of the major issues that HEX has with liquidity. Before Hedron was launched, when you stake your HEX for a long period of time, let's say 5,555 days or around 15 years, which is the maximum term, and at some point you need this money because you have an emergency situation, the only way you can get this money that you locked is by early unstaking, which is also called emergency end stake or EES. However, if you end your stake before the committed time has elapsed, you will face a penalty that is often quite severe and could even be such that you could lose most or even all of your principal as well as all payouts. Now Hedron offers HEX stake instance, which you can tokenize and prevent this from happening and facing a penalty by giving you the option to sell it as NFT on open marketplace like OpenSea to other users who wish to hold that stake and also not dumping the HEX price. So this feature alone is bringing multiple benefits to HEX, and the potential to reduce the selling pressure is one of them. If you are able to trade your stake, the selling pressure is hitting different markets and not HEX. So if someone emergency end their stake and sell their HEX, that dips the price. And Hedron might solve this by giving people other options than emergency unstaking their bag and selling it on the market. Also, more people might get triggered to stake their HEX now because of this alternative, and that correlates to more potential investors and potentially longer stakes. Not everyone wants to stake for 15 years, but now some people might find this attractive. And here comes the question, but if more and more people stake their HEX, that will drop the APY and automatically lower the demand for HEX, because the HEX staking is its main function, and without that the price will crash. So is Hedron going to unintentionally kill HEX? The short answer is no. Let me explain that. Richard Hart has mentioned in many videos that price appreciation is a feature and APY is an extra. Also, most of the supply is in the origin address, so the remaining HEX in circulation won't affect the APY that drastically. However, price appreciation from the diminished available supply will more than likely make up the difference, and also, as the number of shares decreases over time, the payout will go up regardless of the amount of people staked. Overall, Hedron is a very good complementary project, and I think it has a bright future. I won't commit myself to make any price predictions, but I don't think Hedron will replace HEX, even though a lot of people are calling for that. To those of you, I just want to remind you that Hedron will not exist without HEX. If you appreciate all the research and work that goes into making a video like this, it does help me out tremendously if you give the like button a gentle tap or subscribe if you haven't done that already. You can also watch my other videos that popped on the screen to learn even more, and with that being said, I'll see you in the next one.